Prologue. They say when an alpha breaks a blood oath to the moon goddess, the curse doesn't just destroy him. It destroys everyone he loves. My name is Kira Ashenvale, and I was born the night my pack's curse began. 23 years ago, my father stood in a circle of fire and made a promise to the moon goddess. Alpha Gerrick Ashenvale, leader of one of the 6 great packs, swore on his blood and his wolf that he would never take a mate. Never bond. Never love. In exchange, the goddess would protect our pack during the Great War, the conflict that had torn the territories apart for a decade. The goddess accepted. Our pack survived when others fell. My father became legend, the lone alpha who'd sacrificed everything for his people. But legends are just pretty lies we tell ourselves. Because 5 years later, my father met my mother at a peace summit. Sarah Moonwhisper, a healer from a neutral pack. They say she had silver in her eyes and a laugh that could gentle the fiercest wolf. They say my father took one look at her and forgot every oath he'd ever made. They completed their mate bond in secret. For 2 years, they hid it, pretending to be allies, friends, nothing more. But you can't hide a mate bond from the moon goddess. She sees everything. She knows everything. And she does not forgive broken oaths. My mother got pregnant. The night I was born, during a lunar eclipse when the moon turned red as blood, my mother screamed for hours. The pack healers said they'd never seen a birth so violent, so wrong. My mother's wolf turned on her, tearing her apart from the inside. She died bringing me into this world. And the moment she took her last breath, the moon goddess spoke. Her voice rolled across our territory like thunder, and every wolf heard her curse. Alpha Gerrick broke his oath. He chose love over honor, desire over duty. For this betrayal, I curse his bloodline. Every child born of alpha blood in the Ashenvale pack will be hollow. Their wolves will sleep, trapped and dying, until they find their true mate. And if they do not find that mate before their 25th year, both human and wolf will perish. I was the first. Born hollow. Born cursed. Born killing my mother because my father couldn't keep his word. He looked at me once, this tiny screaming thing with my mother's silver eyes and his dark hair. Then he walked away. He's barely looked at me since. For 23 years, I've lived as a ghost in my own pack. The Hollow Heir, they call me. The cursed daughter. The alpha's greatest shame. I've never shifted. My wolf is there, I can feel her, a constant ache beneath my skin, slowly suffocating. She claws and screams and begs to be free, but without my mate, she's trapped. And she's dying. Which means I'm dying too. The pack healers give me 2 years. Maybe less. By my 25th birthday, my wolf will consume herself trying to break free, and she'll take me with her. My father knows this. The whole pack knows this. They watch me like I'm already dead, their eyes sliding past me, their conversations stopping when I enter a room. I'm a living reminder of my father's failure, a walking curse, a ghost waiting to become real. 3 months ago, my father made a decision. If I was going to die anyway, I might as well be useful first. He arranged a marriage. Alpha Darius of the Ironmoor pack, a powerful ally, a strategic match. My father needs the alliance, and Darius wants the prestige of marrying an alpha's daughter, even a cursed one. Especially a cursed one who'll die and leave him free to remarry within a year. The wedding was set for 90 days from the signing. I had 90 days left to live as myself before I became Darius's wife and, shortly after, Darius's dead wife. I accepted it. What choice did I have? At least my death would mean something. At least my father would finally look at me, even if it was just to hand me over to another alpha. But then, 2 weeks ago, I found a letter. I was going through my mother's things, stored in a trunk in the attic where my father keeps everything he can't bear to look at. Beneath her healing journals and pressed flowers, I found an envelope with my name on it. Written in her hand. Sealed with wax 23 years old. My hands shook as I opened it. My dearest Kira, it began. If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and the curse has come to pass. I'm so sorry. This is my fault as much as your father's. I knew he'd made an oath. I knew the risk. But I loved him too much to care, And now you're paying the price for our selfishness. But there is hope. I found something before I died, hidden in ancient texts the moon priestesses guard. The curse can be broken. An alpha must willingly sacrifice their title and power to the moon goddess, offering it freely in exchange for the bloodline's freedom. No tricks, no loopholes. A true sacrifice, made from love, not obligation. I tried to tell Garrick, but the labor started too soon. I'm writing this between contractions, knowing I won't survive to deliver it myself. Someone will find it eventually. Maybe you. Maybe your father. Maybe a stranger who'll never understand. If it's you reading this, my daughter, know that you are not a curse. You are the product of a love so strong it defied gods. And love that powerful doesn't end. It transforms. Find your mate, Kira. Find the one who makes your wolf sing. And when you do, remember, the greatest power isn't in oaths kept, but in sacrifices made freely. I love you. I will always love you. Even in death, even in silence, even in the space between stars. You are not broken. You are becoming. Your mother, Sarah. I read that letter 17 times. Then I burned it, because if my father found it, he'd do something stupid like sacrifice himself to break the curse, and I couldn't let him do that. He'd suffered enough. We all had. But the letter gave me something I hadn't had in 23 years. Hope. Because if the curse could be broken by sacrifice, then maybe, just maybe, there was another way. If I could find my true mate before the wedding, I'd shift. I'd survive. I wouldn't need Darius or his alliance or his pity. I'd be free. The problem? I'd never left pack territory. I'd never been allowed to meet unmated wolves outside formal pack business. How was I supposed to find my mate in 3 months when I'd been hidden away my entire life? That's when I heard about the summit. The convergence, they call it. Once a year, all 6 territory alphas gather at neutral ground to resolve disputes, negotiate treaties, and maintain the fragile peace that's existed since the Great War ended. It's the one time all the packs come together, hundreds of wolves in one place. My father attends every year. He's never taken me. This year, I made him take me. I didn't ask. I demanded. I told him that if he was going to marry me off to Darius, the least he could do was let me attend one summit before I became someone else's property. I used guilt like a weapon, reminded him that I'd never asked for anything, never complained, never caused trouble. He agreed. I think he was relieved I wasn't fighting the marriage itself. He had no idea I was planning to find a way out of it. And so, 4 days ago, we set out for the summit. My father, his beta, a small security detail, and me. The Hollow Heir, getting one last glimpse of the world before she disappeared into marriage and death. I told myself it was about survival. About finding my mate, shifting, living past 25. But the truth was simpler and more desperate than that. I was tired of being a ghost. Tired of watching life happen around me while I faded. Tired of being the curse instead of the person. If I was going to die, I wanted to live first. Really live. Feel the wind in my fur as I ran on 4 legs. Feel the pack bond settle into my bones. Feel like I belonged somewhere, to someone. Even if it was only for a moment. Before we begin, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now with your country and what time it is where you're listening. Whether it's midnight in London, sunrise in Brazil, evening in Australia, or afternoon in Sydney, I want to know. Don't just lurk. Tell me where in the world you are. Because this story, it's going to take you on a journey about forbidden bonds, broken oaths, and a love that could destroy 2 packs. And I want to know who's brave enough to come with me. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1, The Scent. The summit grounds sprawled across sacred neutral territory, a massive clearing ringed by ancient pine trees that had stood since before the Great War. 6 enormous pavilions marked each pack's camp, their banners snapping in the wind. Ashenvale's was deep green and silver. Ironmore's was blood red and gold. The others, I barely knew, Nightfall, Stonecrest, River Bend, and Thornheart, each with their own colors and histories. Hundreds of wolves moved between the camps, laughing, arguing, trading. The air thrummed with power, dozens of alphas and their packs all in one place. It should have felt dangerous. Instead, it felt alive. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere my curse didn't define me. No one here knew I was hollow. No one whispered as I passed. I was just another wolf in the crowd. It was intoxicating. We arrived at sunset, our small convoy pulling into the Ashenvale camp just as the first stars appeared. My father immediately disappeared into alpha business, leaving me with a curt instruction to stay in our tent and not embarrass him. I waited exactly 10 minutes before I slipped out. The main gathering circle blazed with firelight, wolves in human form clustered around it, sharing stories and territorial gossip. I moved through the crowd carefully, breathing in scents, searching for the one that would make my wolf respond. She'd been restless since we crossed into summit territory, pacing beneath my skin with an urgency I'd never felt before. Something here called to her. I just had to find it. I smelled pine and smoke, leather and fur. 1,000 different pack scents layered over each other. But nothing that made my wolf scream recognition. I was beginning to think this was hopeless when I felt it. A shift in the air. A change in pressure, like the moment before lightning strikes. My wolf stopped pacing. She went utterly, completely still. And then she whispered a single word in my mind, a word I'd never heard her speak before, mate. My head snapped up. That's when I smelled it. Cedarwood and thunderstorms. Wild honey and something ancient, something that tasted like power and danger and home all at once. The scent rolled over me like a physical force, driving the air from my lungs, making my knees weak. My wolf didn't just respond. She screamed. She threw herself against my skin, trying to burst free, trying to shift for the first time in 23 years. The pain was blinding. I gasped, stumbling, barely catching myself on a tent pole. Easy. A hand steadied my elbow, strong and warm. The first time the bond hits, it's overwhelming. I looked up. And I saw him. He was taller than any male I'd ever seen, his shoulders broad enough to block out the firelight behind him. His hair was black as midnight, falling to his collar, his skin marked with ritual scars that glowed faintly silver in the darkness. But it was his eyes that stole my breath. Gold. Burning, molten gold, like the sun had decided to live in a wolf's gaze. He looked at me, and the world stopped. The mate bond slammed into place with a force that nearly drove me to my knees. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't soft. It was recognition carved into my soul, destiny written in my bones, my wolf and his calling to each other across every lifetime we'd ever lived. Mine, my wolf snarled. Ours. Claim. Bond. Now. He felt it too. I knew he did because his nostrils flared, his pupils dilated, and his whole body went rigid like he was fighting the urge to shift. You, he breathed, his voice rough as gravel. I've been searching for you. I don't even know you, I whispered. Your wolf knows mine. He was right. My wolf knew his with a certainty that terrified me. She recognized him the way she recognized the moon, instinctively, completely. I'm Kira, I managed. Ashenvale pack. Something changed in his expression. The warmth flickered, replaced by something cold and distant. Ashenvale, he repeated. Then his jaw clenched. Of course you are. What does that mean? He stepped back, putting distance between us, and my wolf howled in protest. It means this bond is impossible. What? Why? Because I'm Theron Blackwater. He watched my face, waiting for recognition. When it didn't come, he added, Alpha of the Nightfall pack. The world tilted. Nightfall. The pack my grandfather had died fighting. The pack that had killed dozens of Ashenvale wolves during the Great War. The pack my father had sworn to never forgive, never ally with, never show mercy to. The blood feud between Ashenvale and Nightfall had lasted 3 generations. And I'd just found my mate in the enemy Alpha. No, I whispered. No, this can't be right. The moon goddess wouldn't. The moon goddess doesn't care about pack politics, Theron said bitterly. She pairs souls, not allies. My father will never accept this. My father would kill me if he knew I was talking to you right now. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration radiating off him in waves. But he's dead. I'm Alpha now. And I made him a blood oath before he died. My stomach dropped. What kind of oath? The kind that means I can't claim you. His gold eyes burned with anguish. No matter how much my wolf is screaming at me to. I don't understand. My father made me swear on my blood and my wolf that I would never show mercy to an Ashenvale. Never ally with them. Never forgive them for my brother's death. Theron's voice was hollow. And never, ever mate with them. But if we're true mates, then we're cursed, he finished. Because if I break a blood oath, my entire pack loses the moon goddess's protection. 300 wolves, Kira. 300 lives depending on me keeping my word. I felt like I was drowning. So what are you saying? I'm saying we can't do this. But even as he said it, he swayed toward me, drawn by the bond. We have to reject it. I can't reject it. The words burst out of me. I'm hollow. My wolf won't shift without my mate. If I reject this bond, I'll be dead within 2 years. His eyes widened. You're hollow? Family curse. Long story. Short version, I find my mate or I die. I laughed, but it came out broken. And apparently, my mate is the one person in 6 territories I can't have. We stared at each other, the bond pulling between us like a living thing, desperate and demanding. How long? He asked quietly. How long what? How long do you have? I'm 23. I have until I'm 25. 2 years. Less. I'm supposed to marry Alpha Darius of Ironmoor in 3 months. It's already arranged. Something dangerous flashed in Theron's eyes. You're marrying Darius? I don't have a choice. My father needs the alliance, and I swallowed hard. I'm going to die anyway. Might as well be useful first. No. The word came out like a command, alpha power bleeding through. You're not marrying him. I don't see how you can stop it, considering you can't claim me. His hands clenched into fists. The air around us crackled with suppressed power. There has to be a way. There isn't. You have your blood oath, I have my curse. We're trapped. Then we stay away from each other. But he didn't move. Neither did I. The bond hummed between us, growing stronger every second we stood there. My wolf clawed at my skin, begging to shift, to complete what had been started. I could feel his wolf doing the same, could see it in the tension of his muscles, the gold bleeding into his eyes. We should go, I whispered. Before we do something we can't take back. Kira. Please. If you can't claim me, then let me go. It took visible effort, but he stepped back. Then back again. Each step looked like it cost him something vital. I'll find a way, he said. There has to be a loophole, something. Don't. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to hold together. Don't give me hope. I can't survive on hope. 3 months, he said. You said you have 3 months until the wedding. What difference does that make? It means I have 3 months to find a way to break my blood oath without destroying my pack. His eyes burned into mine. I'm not letting you marry Darius. I'm not letting you die. And I'm sure as hell not letting the moon goddess trap us in an impossible bond without a fight. Theron. Stay away from Darius. Stay safe. And trust me. Before I could respond, he shifted. One moment, man. The next, the largest wolf I'd ever seen, his fur black as midnight, his eyes still that burning gold. He looked at me once more, long and lingering, like he was memorizing my face. Then he turned and disappeared into the forest. I stood there, shaking, my wolf howling in my mind, the mate bond aching in my chest like an open wound. I'd found my mate. And I'd lost him in the same breath. Behind me, someone cleared their throat. I spun. Alpha Darius stood at the edge of the firelight, his eyes cold and calculating, a smile playing at his lips. So, he said softly, the Hollow Heir has found her mate. My blood turned to ice. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. He moved closer, and every instinct I had screamed at me to run. Long enough to hear everything. The blood oath. The curse. The impossible bond. What do you want? The same thing I've always wanted. You. The Ashenvale alliance. And now, his smile widened, leverage over the Nightfall Alpha. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? He circled me slowly. Theron Blackwater is the most powerful Alpha in 6 territories. He has magic in his bloodline, ancient power that makes other Alphas nervous. But he also has a weakness now. Me. You. And I'm going to use it. Terror shot through me. Use it how? That depends on you. Darius stopped in front of me. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to marry me in 30 days. Not 3 months. 30 days. And you're going to sever whatever bond you think you have with the Nightfall Alpha. I can't sever a mate bond. That's not how it works. Then you'll learn. Because if you don't, his voice dropped to a whisper, I'll tell your father that you found your mate in his blood enemy. That you're planning to betray the Ashenvale pack. That you're conspiring with the wolf who killed your grandfather. My hands shook. He won't believe you. Won't he? You're already a disappointment to him, Kira. Already a curse. How hard do you think it'll be to convince him you're a traitor too? He was right. My father would believe it. He'd want to believe it, because it would give him an excuse to finally be done with me. 30 days, Darius repeated. And if I hear that you've had any contact with Theron Blackwater, if I even suspect you're trying to complete that bond, I'll destroy him. I'll tell every Alpha at this summit that Nightfall is planning to break the peace. I'll start a war that will paint your precious mate as the aggressor. You're insane. I'm ambitious. There's a difference. He leaned in close. 30 days, Kira. Then you're mine. Forever. He walked away, leaving me standing alone in the darkness, my mate bond screaming, my wolf dying, and my last shred of hope crumbling to ash. I'd found my mate. And I'd just been given 30 days to figure out how to save him, save myself, and break 2 impossible curses. Or watch everything burn. Chapter 2, The Impossible Bond. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? My wolf was going insane, throwing herself against my skin over and over, trying to break free and run to our mate. The bond pulled at my chest like a physical rope, tugging me toward wherever Theron was sleeping, demanding I go to him, complete what we'd started. But I couldn't. Darius's threat hung over me like a blade. 30 days. Then I'd belong to him, and Theron would be painted as a warmonger, and everything would fall apart. I paced my tent until dawn, my mind racing. There had to be a way out of this. My mother's letter said an Alpha's willing sacrifice could break the curse. But what about Theron's blood oath? Could that be broken too? I needed answers. I needed help. I needed my father. I found him at sunrise, standing at the edge of our camp, staring out at the forest. He didn't turn when I approached, but I knew he sensed me. Alphas always do. You should be resting, he said. The opening ceremonies begin in an hour. I need to talk to you. Later. I have meetings. Now. The word came out harder than I intended. Please. Something in my tone made him turn. He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in months. His eyes were the same silver as mine, the same shade my mother's had been. Sometimes I wondered if that's why he couldn't stand to look at me. Because he saw her in my face and remembered what his broken oath had cost. What is it? He asked. I opened my mouth to tell him everything. About the mate bond, about Theron, about Darius's threat. But the words stuck in my throat. Because what if Darius was right? What if my father saw this as the ultimate betrayal, his cursed daughter falling for his blood enemy? The wedding, I said instead. Why did you move it up? His expression hardened. Darius requested it. He wants the alliance solidified sooner. You mean he wants me dead sooner? Kira. Don't. I wrapped my arms around myself. We both know what this is. You're trading me for an alliance, and Darius is getting a wife who'll be dead within a year. It's convenient for everyone. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're finally getting rid of the reminder of your biggest mistake. His face went white. You think I want this? You think I want to watch you die? I think you've been watching me die for 23 years and you've never once tried to stop it. The words hung between us, sharp and true. My father looked away. There's nothing I can do. I've searched for a cure, consulted every healer in 6 territories. The curse can't be broken. Yes, it can. The words burst out before I could stop them. An alpha's willing sacrifice. Title and power freely given to the moon goddess. He went very still. How do you know that? Does it matter? The point is, there's a way, and you're choosing not to take it. You want me to give up being alpha? He laughed, but it was bitter. You want me to become omega, the lowest rank, powerless and packless, all to save a daughter who can barely stand to look at me. I want you to care whether I live or die. I do care. The words exploded from him. Every single day, I care. I watch you fade a little more, feel your wolf dying inside you, and I can't do anything to stop it. Do you think that doesn't destroy me? Then why won't you sacrifice for me the way you sacrificed for the pack? Because it won't work. He ran his hands through his hair. I consulted the moon priestesses. They confirmed the ritual exists. But there's a catch, Kira. The sacrifice has to come from love freely given. Not guilt. Not obligation. Love. My throat tightened. And you don't love me enough. I don't know how to love you without seeing her. His voice broke. Every time I look at you, I see Sarah dying. I see the moment I broke my oath and damned everyone I care about. You're not just my daughter. You're my failure made flesh. The words should have hurt. Maybe once they would have. But I'd lived with this truth my whole life. Hearing it spoken out loud was almost a relief. Then let me go, I whispered. Stop trying to marry me off to Darius. Let me find another way. There is no other way. You need your mate to shift, and you'll never find him in time. What if I already did? The words were out before I could stop them. My father's head snapped toward me. What? I should have lied. Should have backtracked. But I was so tired of hiding, of being invisible, of pretending I didn't exist. I found my mate last night, I said. At the summit. The bond locked into place the moment I saw him. Something like hope flared in my father's eyes. Then you can shift. You can survive. Who is he? What pack? I hesitated. Kira. What pack? Nightfall. The hope died instantly, replaced by cold fury. No. I didn't choose this. I don't care. His voice was ice. You will not bond with a Blackwater. I don't care if he's your fated mate. I don't care if rejecting him kills you. You will not betray this pack. It's not a betrayal to want to live. It's a betrayal to mate with the enemy. He grabbed my shoulders, his grip bruising. Do you know what they did during the war? Do you know how your grandfather died? That was their old alpha, not Theron. Theron Blackwater? He released me like I'd burned him. The one with the ancient magic. The most dangerous alpha in 6 territories. He's my mate. He's using you. He's not. He is. My father's eyes blazed. Don't you see? This is exactly what the Nightfall pack would do. Find a way to infiltrate the Ashenvale bloodline, weaken us from the inside. The mate bond can be faked, Kira. With enough magic, anything can be faked. You think I can't tell the difference between a real bond and a fake one? I think you're desperate and dying and you'll believe anything that gives you hope. He stepped back, composing himself. You will not see him again. You will not speak to him. And you will marry Darius in 30 days as planned. You can't make me. I'm your alpha. I can make you do anything. He turned away. Go back to your tent. We'll discuss this later when you're thinking clearly. He walked away, leaving me standing alone in the cold dawn light. I'd lost. I'd told him the truth, and it had changed nothing. My wolf howled in my mind, desperate and dying. The bond pulled at my chest, growing stronger every moment Theron and I were in proximity. Soon it would be unbearable. Soon I'd have to complete it or reject it, and either choice would destroy me. I started walking. I didn't know where I was going, Just away from the camp, away from my father's rejection, away from everything. I ended up at the edge of the sacred grove, a place where wolves came to meditate and pray. It was empty this early, just me and the ancient trees and the morning mist. That's when I felt him. The bond pulled tight, then snapped into crystal clarity. He was close. Getting closer. I turned. Theron stepped out of the mist like something from a dream, still in human form, wearing leather pants and a dark shirt that did nothing to hide the powerful lines of his body. His gold eyes found mine immediately. "You shouldn't be here," I said. "Neither should you." He moved closer, drawn by the same force pulling at me. "But I can't stay away." I tried. All night, I tried. My wolf nearly tore me apart. Mine too. We stood there, 5 feet apart, the bond humming between us like a living thing. Every instinct I had screamed at me to close the distance, to touch him, to complete what had been started. "I told my father," I said. "How did he take it?" "About as well as expected. He thinks you're using magic to fake the bond." "I'm not." "I know." I wrapped my arms around myself. "But it doesn't matter. He won't accept this. And Darius threatened to start a war if I try to complete the bond with you." Theron's expression darkened. "Darius knows. He overheard us last night. He moved the wedding up to 30 days and said if I have any contact with you, he'll convince the other alphas that Nightfall is planning to break the peace. Let him try. I'm not afraid of Darius. You should be. He's dangerous, and he's connected, and he'll do whatever it takes to get what he wants." I laughed bitterly. Apparently what he wants is me. Dead wife and Ashenvale alliance in one convenient package. Over my dead body. That might be exactly what he's counting on. Theron closed the distance between us in 2 strides. His hand came up to cup my face, his thumb brushing my cheekbone. The touch sent electricity through me, made my wolf surge beneath my skin. "I've been researching all night," he said. "Blood oaths. There has to be a way to break mine without destroying my pack. And if there isn't, then I'll find a loophole. I'm not giving you up, Kira. I don't care what it costs. It could cost 300 lives. Then I'll find another way." His forehead dropped to mine, and I could feel him shaking with the effort of holding back. "I've been alone my entire life. Never wanted a mate, never believed the moon goddess would give me one. Then I saw you, and everything changed. You're not just my mate. You're my salvation. I'm your curse," I whispered. "Just like I'm my father's curse. Just like I'm everyone's curse." "No." His voice was fierce. "You're the person I've been waiting for, and I will move heaven and earth before I let anyone take you from me." He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate and hungry and inevitable. His lips claimed mine like he was drowning and I was air, like I was the only thing keeping him alive. And I kissed him back just as fiercely, because he was right. This wasn't just a mate bond. This was salvation. This was the first time in my life I'd felt like I belonged somewhere. The bond exploded between us, bright and burning. I felt it lock into place, felt the first stage complete. Not the full bond, not yet, but enough to tie us together, enough that separating now would be agony. My wolf surged forward, desperate to shift, to complete the transformation. I felt my bones start to crack, my muscles start to reshape. Theron pulled back, breathing hard. "Stop. Not here. If you shift now, everyone will know." He was right. I forced my wolf back down, gasping with the effort. "What just happened?" I asked. "First mark." He touched his neck, and I saw it, a silver mark, like a crescent moon, glowing faintly on his skin. "We've started the bond. Now we have 7 days to complete it or what? Or we both die." His eyes were grim. "The partial bond will consume us if we don't finish what we started." Horror flooded through me. 7 days. 7 days to break my blood oath, deal with Darius, convince your father, and complete the bond. He laughed, but it was dark. "Piece of cake. Theron, this is insane. We should break it now, before what? Before you die in 2 years. Before Darius forces you into marriage? Before you spend the rest of your short life as a ghost? He gripped my shoulders. No. We find a way through this. Together. How? I don't know yet. But I know someone who might. He stepped back. My pack has a moon priestess. She's old, older than the war, and she knows things about blood oaths and curses that most wolves have forgotten. If anyone can help us, it's her. When can we see her? Tonight. After the opening ceremonies. She won't come to the summit, but I can take you to her. My father will notice if I disappear. Then don't disappear. Tell him you're meeting with other unmated females, making friends, whatever. Just meet me at the north edge of the grounds after the ceremony. I should have said no. Should have told him this was too dangerous, too reckless. Instead, I said, okay. Relief flooded his face. He pulled me into his arms, just holding me, and for a moment, the world felt right. The bond hummed contentedly, my wolf settled, and I felt safe for the first time in my life. 7 days, he murmured against my hair. We can do this. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe there was a way out of this impossible situation. But deep down, I knew the truth. We were fighting gods and oaths and centuries of hatred. And we had 7 days to win. The opening ceremonies were a blur of speeches and territorial posturing. All 6 alphas stood before the assembled packs, declaring their commitment to peace while their eyes promised violence. My father didn't look at me once. Darius, on the other hand, didn't look away. He watched me like a wolf watches wounded prey, patient and hungry. Theron stood with his pack on the opposite side of the circle. Our eyes met across the crowd, and I felt the bond pull tight, felt the phantom heat of his mark on my neck even though it was hidden beneath my collar. 7 days. When the ceremony finally ended and the packs dispersed to their evening meals, I slipped away. I told my father's beater I was meeting with some female wolves from the Riverbend pack. He barely listened, too distracted by security concerns to care where I went. I made my way to the north edge of the grounds, my heart pounding. Theron was waiting in the shadows, already shifted to his massive black wolf form. When he saw me, his tail gave one slight wag, and I felt the bond warm in my chest. I shifted. For the second time in my life, I let my wolf free. The transformation was easier this time, faster. My bones cracked and reformed, my muscles stretched, and then I was running on 4 legs, my silver-grey fur catching the moonlight. Theron's wolf was enormous next to mine, but he moved with careful gentleness, pressing his muzzle to mine in greeting before turning toward the forest. We ran. It was the most alive I'd ever felt. The wind in my fur, the earth beneath my paws, my mate beside me. My wolf sang with joy, and for the first time, I understood what I'd been missing my entire life. This feeling of absolute freedom and rightness. We ran for an hour, leaving the summit far behind, until we reached a small clearing deep in nightfall territory. An ancient cottage stood at the center, smoke rising from its chimney, wards glowing faintly around its perimeter. We shifted back to human. This is her home, Theron said. Fair warning, sages, unconventional. Unconventional how? You'll see. He knocked on the door. It swung open immediately, revealing a tiny old woman with white hair and eyes that glowed silver in the darkness. About damn time, she said. I've been waiting for you two for 23 years. I blinked. What? Come in, come in. We have much to discuss and very little time. She ushered us inside. 7 days to break 2 curses, stop a war, and save 2 packs. No pressure. Theron and I exchanged glances. How do you know about the 7 days? I asked. Child, I'm a moon priestess. I know everything the goddess knows. Sage gestured to a worn table covered in ancient books and vials of shimmering liquid. And right now, she knows you two are in very deep trouble. She fixed us with those glowing eyes. But there is a way out. It's dangerous, painful, and requires a sacrifice that will cost you both everything you thought you knew about yourselves. We'll do it, Theron said immediately. You don't even know what I'm asking yet. Doesn't matter. We'll do whatever it takes. Sage smiled, but it was sad. That's what your parents said too. Right before they made the oaths that cursed you both. My blood ran cold. You knew our parents. I was there the night your father made his oath, Kira. I was there when Theron's father made his. She sat down heavily. And I've been waiting ever since for their children to come to me, desperate and bonded, needing to break what their parents broke. Then you can help us, I said. I can tell you how to help yourselves. She pulled out an ancient scroll. There is a ritual. It requires 3 items blessed by the moon goddess herself. Gather them, perform the ritual under the full moon, and both oaths will break. What 3 items? Theron asked. First, moon water from the sacred springs. Second, silver flame from the first temple. Third. She paused. An alpha's willing sacrifice. My stomach dropped. What kind of sacrifice? Blood freely given. Life freely offered. Title and power surrendered to the goddess. Sage's eyes were infinitely sad. An alpha must die, Theron. Willingly. For love. There is no other way. The room went silent. No, Theron said. There has to be another way. There isn't. Your father's oath can only be broken by death or sacrifice. Kira's family curse is the same. One alpha must give their life to free you both. Then I'll do it, Theron said immediately. No, I grabbed his arm. Absolutely not. My pack can survive without me. Yours can't survive without your father. I don't care about my father's pack. I care about you. Kira. No. My voice broke. I didn't find my mate just to watch him die. There has to be another way. Sage watched us with ancient, knowing eyes. Love makes fools of us all. Your parents learned that. Now you're learning it too. This is insane, I said. The moon goddess is supposed to bring mates together, not force them to sacrifice each other. The goddess doesn't force anything. She offers choices. Your parents chose to break their oaths for love. Now you must choose what you're willing to sacrifice for it. I won't let Theron die, I said firmly. And I won't let you die, Theron countered. Then you'd better find another alpha willing to make the sacrifice. Sage stood. You have 6 days to gather the 3 items and perform the ritual. The sacred springs are a day's journey north. The first temple is 2 days east. Both are dangerous. Both are guarded. We'll do it, Theron said. Then go. And pray you find a willing sacrifice before the 7 days are up. She opened the door. Because if you don't, the partial bond will kill you both, and all of this will have been for nothing. We left the cottage in silence. Outside, under the stars, Theron pulled me close. We'll figure this out, he said. How? We need an alpha to die, Theron. Who's going to volunteer for that? I will if I have to. No. I kissed him hard, desperately. No. We find another way. We gather the moon water and the silver flame, and we find another way. Kira. Promise me you won't sacrifice yourself. Promise me. He hesitated. Then, I promise I won't do it without talking to you first. It wasn't the promise I wanted, but it was all I was going to get. We stood there, holding each other under the moon, the bond humming between us. 6 days. 3 impossible items. 1 unbearable sacrifice. And somewhere behind us, in the summit camp, Darius was planning something. I could feel it in my bones, in the way the bond pulled anxiously at my chest. We should go back, I said. Before we're missed. Theron kissed my forehead. Tomorrow, we start the quest. Together. Together, I agreed. We shifted and ran back toward the summit, our wolves moving in perfect sync. But as we neared the edge of the camp, I smelled it. Smoke. Blood. Fear. Something was wrong. We burst through the tree line and stopped dead. The Ashenvale camp was surrounded by armed wolves. Darius stood at the center, my father on his knees before him, a silver blade at his throat. There you are, Darius called when he saw us. I was beginning to think you wouldn't show. But I knew the bond would bring you back eventually. I shifted to human. What are you doing? accelerating our timeline. He pressed the blade harder against my father's throat. Here's what's going to happen, Kira. You're going to complete your bond with me, right now, in front of everyone. Or I'm going to kill your father and declare war on Nightfall. You can't bond with someone who's already partially bonded to another wolf, Theron growled, also shifting to human. I can if I sever the partial bond first. Darius held up a vial of silver liquid. Wolfsbane and witch's root. Strong enough to break any bond, even a mate bond. 1 dose for you, Kira, and you'll be free to bond with me instead. Horror flooded through me. That will kill me. My wolf is too weak. Then you'd better decide quickly. The bond-breaking potion or your father's death. You have 10 seconds. Choose. Chapter 3, The Breaking Point. 10 seconds. That's all the time I had to choose between watching my father die or destroying the mate bond that was the only thing keeping me alive. My wolf screamed in my mind, clawing at my skin. The bond pulled tight in my chest, connecting me to Theron with a force that felt more real than my own heartbeat. 10, Darius counted, his blade gleaming against my father's throat. 9. 8. Kira, don't, my father said, his voice steady despite the blade at his neck. Don't do this for me. 7. 6. Theron moved to my side, his hand finding mine. Through the bond, I felt his rage, his fear, his desperate need to protect me. I can take him, he whispered. My alpha command. Won't work fast enough, I whispered back. He'll kill my father before you can finish the command. 5. 4. I looked at my father. Really looked at him. For the first time in years, his eyes met mine without sliding away. And in that moment, I saw it. Not rejection. Not shame. Fear. He was terrified. Not of dying, but of losing me. 3. 2. Wait, I said. Darius smiled. I knew you'd see reason. I'll do it. I'll take the potion. The words tasted like ash. But you have to let my father go first. And you have to promise no harm comes to the Nightfall pack. Kira, no. Theron's hand tightened on mine. Those aren't the terms, Darius said. You take the potion now, then I release your father. You'll kill him the moment I'm bonded to you. I might. But at least you'll be alive to regret it. He held out the vial. Last chance, Kira. Drink, or watch him die. Through the bond, I felt Theron gathering his power. His alpha command building, magic crackling in the air around him. He was going to try to save us both, even if it broke his blood oath, even if it destroyed his pack. I couldn't let him do that. I stepped forward, reaching for the vial. That's when my father moved. He was alpha for a reason. Even on his knees, even with a blade at his throat, he was faster than Darius expected. He threw himself backward, knocking into Darius's legs, sending them both sprawling. Run, he roared at me. Everything happened at once. Theron's alpha command exploded outward, freezing half the wolves in place. I shifted, my wolf bursting free in a flash of silver fur. And my father, bleeding from a slice across his throat but very much alive, shifted too, his massive grey wolf lunging at Darius. But Darius had planned for this. The wolves surrounding us weren't his pack. They were rogues, mercenaries who didn't answer to any alpha's command. They didn't freeze when Theron's power hit them. They just kept coming. 20 rogues against my father, Theron, and me. We didn't have a chance. Unless. I felt it then, deep in my bones. My wolf wasn't weak anymore. The partial bond with Theron had awakened something in her, something that had been sleeping my entire life. I was still small, still silver-grey and fog-colored, but I was fast. Faster than I should be. And I was done being helpless. I launched myself at the nearest rogue, my jaws finding his throat before he could react. He went down hard. I didn't stop. I moved like water, like shadow, ducking under claws and finding vulnerable spots with precision I didn't know I had. Beside me, Theron fought like the legend he was. His massive black wolf was a force of nature, all power and controlled fury. And my father, bleeding and older but still alpha, fought with the desperation of a male protecting his daughter. For the first time in my life, we fought as a pack. But we were outnumbered. For every rogue we dropped, 2 more appeared. And Darius, still in human form, was reaching for that vial again. Enough. His voice cut through the chaos. Stop, or I release the poison into the water supply. Every wolf at this summit dies within the hour. We froze. Darius held up a larger vial, this one filled with enough wolfsbane concentrate to kill hundreds. I came prepared for every contingency. Now, here's what's going to happen. Kira comes with me. Peacefully. Or everyone dies. You're insane, I growled, shifting back to human. I'm practical. He moved toward me, the vial held high. You're going to be my mate, Kira. One way or another. The only question is how many wolves have to die first. The other alphas won't stand for this, Theron said, also shifting to human. You're threatening the entire summit. The other alphas will believe whatever I tell them. That Nightfall attacked Ashenvale. That you tried to kidnap Kira to start a war. Darius smiled. I've been building this narrative for months. All I need is a little chaos to make it believable. He was right. The other packs were already gathering, drawn by the sounds of fighting. They saw Nightfall and Ashenvale wolves in combat. They saw Theron and me standing together. They saw exactly what Darius wanted them to see. A conspiracy between blood enemies. Stand down, my father said quietly. He was back in human form, naked and bleeding, but his voice carried alpha authority. All of you. Stand down. Alpha, one of our wolves, protested. Now. My father's eyes met mine. This ends here. No, I whispered. Don't do this. I'm your alpha. And your father. He walked toward Darius, his hands raised in surrender. Let me offer you something better than a dying mate. An alliance sealed in blood. A true partnership between Ironmoor and Ashenvale. Darius's eyes narrowed. What are you proposing? Take me as hostage instead of Kira. Keep me as insurance of the alliance. If she runs, if she tries to complete her bond with the Nightfall Alpha, you kill me. If she behaves, if she accepts her fate, I live and our packs unite. Father, no. It's a better deal than forcing a bond with a female who'll hate you forever, my father continued. This way, you get the alliance without the constant fight. And I get to know my daughter will survive long enough to find another solution. I could see Darius calculating, weighing options. You'll come willingly, he asked. No fighting, no escape attempts. I'll give you my word as an alpha. And Kira will sever her bond with the Nightfall Wolf. That's between her and the Moon Goddess. My father's jaw was tight. But I'll make sure she doesn't act on it while you hold me hostage. Darius considered this. Then he nodded. Acceptable. But I'm keeping the poison as insurance. And if I hear even a rumor of Nightfall and Ashenvale conspiring together, I'll kill you slowly. Understood. No. I lunged forward, but Theron caught me, held me back. You can't do this. I can. And I am. My father looked at me, and for the first time since I was born, I saw love in his eyes. Real, unconditional love. You asked me if I cared whether you lived or died. This is my answer. He walked to Darius, allowed himself to be bound with silver chains. You have 6 days left on your partial bond, my father said to me. Use them wisely. Find the items Sage told you about. Break the curses. And when you do, he smiled. Come get me. I'll be waiting. He knew. Somehow, he'd known about the ritual, about the quest. How? Your mother left me a letter too. I found it years ago. I've been waiting for you to find yours. His eyes were bright. Go, Kira. Be the hero I never had the courage to be. Darius dragged him away, the rogues falling back, the other packs watching in confusion and suspicion. And just like that, my father became a hostage to save my life. I stood there, shaking, my wolf howling in anguish. Theron pulled me into his arms. We'll get him back. How? We have 6 days to find 3 impossible items and perform a ritual that requires an alpha to die. Then we start now. He kissed my forehead. Your father just bought us time. We're not wasting it. The other alphas will believe what they want to believe. Right now, we need to focus on the quest. He turned to address the watching crowd. What happened here tonight was a personal dispute. Nothing more. The summit continues as planned. The other alphas exchanged glances but didn't challenge him. Theron was too powerful, too dangerous to contradict openly. The crowd dispersed slowly, leaving us standing in the wreckage of what had almost been a massacre. We leave at dawn, Theron said. We'll go to the sacred springs first, then the first temple. We'll find the items, perform the ritual, and save your father. And the sacrifice? I whispered. Who dies, Theron? He didn't answer. Because we both knew there was no good answer. Chapter 4. The quest begins. We left before sunrise, slipping away from the summit while the other packs still slept. Just Theron and me, running north on 4 legs, racing against time and fate. The partial bond hummed between us, stronger every hour. I could feel him in my mind now, his thoughts brushing against mine, his emotions bleeding through. Fear. Determination. And underneath it all, a love so fierce it terrified me. We'd known each other for 2 days. But the bond made it feel like lifetimes. The sacred springs lay a full day's travel north, in territory that belonged to no pack. Rogue territory. Dangerous even in the best of times, deadly for 2 wolves traveling alone. But we had no choice. We ran through the morning, stopping only briefly to drink from streams and catch our breath. Through the bond, Theron shared what he knew about the springs. They're guarded by feral wolves. Rogues who've lost their humanity completely. They can't shift back to human anymore. They're just beasts. How many? I asked through the bond. At least a dozen. Maybe more. They don't take kindly to visitors. Then how do we get the moon water? Carefully. We reached the springs by late afternoon. I could smell them before I saw them, a strange sweet scent that made my wolf uneasy. The clearing ahead glowed with an otherworldly light, silver water bubbling up from underground, pooling in a natural basin. It was beautiful. And it reeked of danger. We shifted back to human, crouching in the underbrush. There, Theron whispered, pointing to the basin. We need to fill a vial with water from the center of the spring. But we can't touch it with our hands. Moon water burns mortal flesh. Then how? A howl cut through the air. Then another. Then a dozen more, all around us. The ferals had found us. They emerged from the forest like nightmares, their fur matted and wild, their eyes empty of anything resembling reason. They moved wrong, twitchy and erratic, more monster than wolf. Run for the spring, Theron said. I'll hold them off. No. We go together or not at all. Kira. Together, I said firmly. He looked at me, and through the bond, I felt his fear war with his pride. Then he nodded. Together. We shifted and ran. The ferals attacked immediately, a wave of teeth and claws and mindless fury. Theron's alpha command washed over them, but they barely responded. Too far gone, too feral to remember what it meant to submit to an alpha. I used my speed, darting between them, leading them away from Theron. My wolf was small and fast, built for evasion rather than combat. I led 3 ferals on a chase through the trees while Theron fought the others. Through the bond, I felt every blow he took, every wound that opened on his skin. But I also felt his determination, his absolute refusal to fall. I circled back to the spring, the ferals right behind me. At the last second, I jumped. My wolf form sailed over the basin, landing on the far side. The ferals, too crazed to stop, tried to follow. They hit the moon water and screamed. The water burned them, silver light consuming fur and flesh. They thrashed and howled, then fell silent, their bodies dissolving into mist. Moon water didn't just burn mortal flesh. It destroyed anything impure. I shifted back to human, my hands shaking. Theron appeared beside me, bleeding from a dozen wounds but alive. Are you okay? he asked. I'm fine. You're hurt. I'll heal. He pulled a glass vial from the pack he'd carried. We need to get the water before more ferals come. But how? We couldn't touch it. And we didn't have anything long enough to reach the center of the spring. I looked around desperately. Then I saw it. A fallen branch, silver bark gleaming in the moonlight. A moon willow, one of the sacred trees that grew near the springs. That, I said, pointing. Theron grabbed the branch, stripped it of leaves, and carefully extended it over the spring. The bark didn't burn. Sacred wood, immune to sacred water. He positioned the vial at the end of the branch, slowly lowering it into the center of the spring. The water glowed brighter as the vial filled, silver light dancing across its surface. Got it, Theron said, pulling the branch back. The vial was full, sealed with a cork he'd brought. 1 item down. 2 to go. We heard howling in the distance. More ferals, drawn by the sounds of fighting. Time to leave, Theron said. We shifted and ran, the vial secured in Theron's pack, moonwater sloshing gently inside. We didn't stop until we were miles away, deep in safer territory. We shifted back to human, both of us exhausted, bleeding, but triumphant. 1 down, I said, breathing hard. 2 to go. Theron pulled me close, his forehead resting against mine. The first temple is 2 days east. We can make it. 5 days left on the bond, I whispered. We'll make it, he repeated, but I could feel his uncertainty through the bond. We made camp in a small cave, building a fire to warm ourselves. Theron's wounds were healing slowly, his supernatural regeneration working overtime. I helped clean the deeper cuts, my hands gentle on his skin. You fought well today, he said. I ran away from monsters. That's not fighting. You led them into a trap. You saved both our lives. His hand cupped my face. You're stronger than you think, Kira. I'm terrified, I admitted. 5 days. 3 if we count travel time. And we still don't have an answer for the sacrifice. We'll find one. What if we don't? What if we get the items but can't complete the ritual because no one's willing to die? Then I'll do it. No. I grabbed his hand. You promised. I promised I wouldn't do it without talking to you first. Well, I'm talking to you now. His eyes were fierce. If it comes down to choosing between my life and yours, I choose yours. Every time. That's not fair. Love isn't fair. It's not supposed to be. He kissed me softly. You're my mate, Kira. The other half of my soul. I would burn the world to keep you safe. And what about your pack? Your 300 wolves who depend on you. They'll have a new alpha. My beta is strong, capable. He'll lead them well. Theron. Listen to me. He took both my hands. I've spent my entire life trying to be the alpha my father wanted me to be. Strong. Ruthless. Alone. I thought that was my purpose, my destiny. Then I met you, and I realized I'd been living half a life. His thumb traced circles on my palm. You made me feel things I thought were impossible. Hope. Joy. Love. Real, consuming, terrifying love. And if I have to die to make sure you get to experience that for more than 7 days, then that's a trade I'll make gladly. Tears burned my eyes. I don't want you to die for me. I want you to live with me. Then help me find another way. But know that if we can't. He pulled me into his arms. I'm at peace with my choice. I held him tight, breathing in his scent, feeling his heartbeat against mine. Through the bond, I felt what he felt. This wasn't bravado or martyrdom. This was simple truth. He loved me enough to die for me. And I loved him enough to refuse to let him. We'll find another way, I whispered fiercely. We have to. We stayed like that, holding each other, the fire burning low, the bond humming between us. Outside, the moon rose higher, marking another day lost. 5 days left. We set out at dawn, running hard toward the east. The first temple was 2 days away, built into a mountain where the first wolves had supposedly made their pacts with the moon goddess. It had been abandoned for centuries, cursed after some ancient betrayal I didn't know the details of. No wolf went there anymore. Even rogues avoided it. Which meant whatever guarded the silver flame would be worse than ferals. We traveled through the day and into the night, stopping only when exhaustion forced us to rest. The bond was getting stronger, more insistent. Soon it would start causing physical pain if we didn't complete it. 4 days left. On the second day, we reached the mountains. The first temple rose before us, a massive structure carved from black stone, its entrance a gaping mouth that seemed to swallow light. "I can feel dark magic here," Theron said, his voice tight. "Old magic. Angry magic. What kind?" "The kind that kills trespassers." He looked at me. "We should be careful." We shifted to human and approached on foot. The entrance was covered in ancient runes, warnings in the old tongue. I could only make out a few words. Betrayal. Punishment. Death. Encouraging, I muttered. Theron took my hand. Together. Together. We stepped through the entrance. The temperature dropped immediately, cold enough to see our breath. The interior was vast, a cathedral-like space with pillars reaching up into darkness. At the far end, on a raised altar, burned a single flame. Silver. Pure. Beautiful. And absolutely deadly. "There," I whispered. We started forward. That's when the whispers started. Voices in the darkness, speaking the old tongue. I couldn't understand the words, but I understood the tone. Accusation. Judgment. Fury. "The temple knows we're here," Theron said. "It's testing us." Testing us how? My answer came in the form of shadows peeling away from the walls. They took shape, becoming twisted versions of wolves, made of darkness and malice. "Shadow guardians," Theron breathed. "I've only heard stories. They're supposed to be unkillable. Then how do we get past them? We don't fight them. We face them." "What does that mean?" The first shadow lunged at me. I tried to dodge, but it moved through me like smoke, and suddenly I was somewhere else. I was 5 years old, watching my father marry my stepmother, knowing I was being replaced. I was 10, hearing the pack children whisper that I was cursed, that my mother died because of me. I was 16, feeling my wolf shift for the first time in secret, knowing I could never tell anyone or my father would use me as a breeding tool. The shadow was showing me my worst memories, forcing me to relive every moment of pain and rejection. "It's not real," I told myself. "It's not real." But it felt real. It felt like drowning in shame and loneliness and the crushing weight of being unwanted. Through the bond, I felt Theron fighting his own shadows. His memories were darker than mine. Violence. War. His father forcing him to kill, to hurt, to become the monster their pack needed. We were both breaking. And then I remembered what Sage had said. The ritual requires sacrifice. Not just death. True sacrifice, born from love. These shadows didn't want us to fight. They wanted us to surrender. To face our pain and accept it. I stopped fighting. I let the memories wash over me, let myself feel every moment of rejection, every whisper of cursed daughter, every time my father looked through me instead of at me. And then I forgave it. Not forgot. Forgave. I forgave my father for his weakness. I forgave the pack for their fear. I forgave myself for surviving when my mother didn't. The shadow screamed and dissolved. Beside me, Theron was doing the same. Facing his father's cruelty, his brother's death, the weight of expectations he could never meet. Forgiving. Letting go. Accepting. His shadows dissolved too. We stood in the empty temple, breathing hard, tears streaming down our faces. "I've never..." Theron's voice broke. "I've never let myself feel that before." Me neither. We walked to the altar together. The silver flame burned steady and eternal, waiting. "We need a container that won't burn," I said. Theron pulled out another vial, this one made of crystal. Moon Priestess gave it to me. Said it would hold the flame. He carefully positioned the vial over the flame. The silver fire climbed inside, filling the crystal with light. 2 items. 1 to go. We left the temple, both of us changed by what we'd faced inside. The shadows had forced us to confront our deepest pain. But in doing so, they'd freed us from it. 3 days left, Theron said as we made camp that night. One item left. The sacrifice. We both knew what that meant. We had the moon water. We had the silver flame. All we needed was an alpha willing to die. And the only alphas who loved us enough to make that sacrifice were already captive or forbidden. We go back to the summit tomorrow, I said. We get my father. And we figure out the rest. Together, Theron agreed. But as we lay in each other's arms that night, the bond singing between us, we both knew the truth. Someone was going to die. The only question was who. Chapter 5, The Rescue. We arrived back at the summit under cover of darkness, 2 wolves moving like ghosts through the forest. 3 days left on the partial bond. 3 days to rescue my father, perform the ritual, and find an alpha willing to die. No pressure. Through the bond, I felt Theron's determination mixed with dread. He was planning something, I could sense it. Something he hadn't told me yet. What are you thinking? I asked through our connection. That we need a plan, he replied. Darius won't just hand your father over. So what do? We give him what he wants. Then we take it back. I didn't like the sound of that, but I trusted him. I had to. We shifted to human at the edge of the Ashenvale camp. It was late, most wolves sleeping, but guards patrolled the perimeter. Darius had turned our camp into a prison. Your father is being held in the Alpha's tent, Theron whispered. Guarded by at least 6 wolves. All armed with silver. How do you know? I've been watching. While you slept last night, I scouted ahead. His jaw was tight. Darius is paranoid. He knows we'll come for your father. Then he'll be expecting us. Exactly. Which is why we're not going to sneak in. Theron pulled me close. We're going to walk right through the front. That's insane. Maybe. But it's the last thing he'll expect. His eyes met mine. Trust me. Always. We walked into the camp together, hand in hand, making no attempt to hide. The guards saw us immediately, weapons drawn, but Theron's alpha presence stopped them from attacking outright. Tell Darius we're here to negotiate, Theron said calmly. And tell him we have what he wants. The guards exchanged nervous glances. One ran to alert Darius while the others kept their weapons trained on us. Minutes later, Darius emerged from the Alpha's tent, my father in silver chains behind him. My father looked thinner, exhausted, but his eyes were alert. When he saw me, something like relief crossed his face. Then his gaze shifted to Theron, and I saw calculation. He was planning something too. Well, Darius said, smiling that predatory smile. The wayward lovers return. I was beginning to think you'd abandoned your father to his fate. We're here to bargain, I said. I'm listening. You want me. You want the Ashenvale alliance. You want leverage over nightfall. I took a deep breath. I'll give you all of it. In exchange for my father's freedom. Darius's eyes gleamed. And the mate bond with nightfall? I'll sever it. Kira, no, Theron started, but I squeezed his hand. Trust me, I said through the bond. I'll sever the bond, I continued. Right here, right now. But only after you release my father and guarantee safe passage for him and his pack. You expect me to believe you'll willingly destroy your mate bond? Darius laughed. I wasn't born yesterday. I'll do it if it saves my father's life. I met his eyes. You've won, Darius. You've always been going to win. I'm just trying to minimize the damage. He studied me, looking for the lie. But I'd learned from years of hiding my wolf, hiding my strength, hiding myself. I could make him believe anything. Show me the vial, he said. The bond-breaking potion. Let me see that you're serious. I don't have it. You do, remember? I gestured to his belt, where I could see the vial tucked into a pouch. But I'll drink it. Right now. If you release my father first. Changed terms. I release your father after you drink. Then we're at an impasse. We stared at each other. Around us, wolves gathered, drawn by the confrontation. I could see the other alphas watching from their camps, curious about what would happen. This was Darius's moment. He could force the issue, make me drink the poison while my father watched. Or he could show mercy, show leadership, and win political points with the other alphas. His pride made the choice for him. Fine, he said. I'll release your father. But he leaves immediately. No goodbyes, no last words. And you drink the potion the moment he's beyond the camp boundary. Agreed. Darius signaled to his guards. They unlocked my father's chains, the silver falling away with a hiss. My father rubbed his wrists, his eyes never leaving mine. Kira, he said softly. Don't do this. I have to. No. You don't. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I know what you're planning. The ritual. The sacrifice. I know you have the moon water and the silver flame. My blood ran cold. How? Because I helped your mother research it 23 years ago. I know exactly what's required. His eyes were fierce. And I know what I have to do. Father, no. Go, he said to Theron. Take her and run. I'll handle Darius. You can't, Theron started. I'm still alpha of this pack. And I'm giving you a direct order. Protect my daughter. Get her to safety. Perform the ritual. The ritual requires an alpha's willing sacrifice, I whispered. You can't. I can. And I will. He pulled me into a hug, quick and fierce. I've been a coward for 23 years. Let me be brave for once. He released me and turned to face Darius. You want leverage over Nightfall? You want the Ashenvale alliance? I'll give you something better. A direct challenge. Alpha to alpha. Winner takes everything. Darius's eyes widened. You're challenging me? Right here. Right now. Traditional combat. To the death. The camp went silent. An alpha challenge was sacred, binding. Once issued, it couldn't be refused without losing all honor and authority. Darius smiled slowly. You're in no condition to fight. You've been chained for 3 days. You're weak. Then it should be an easy victory for you. My father's voice was steady. Unless you're afraid. The crowd murmured. Darius's face flushed with anger. I accept, he said. We fight at dawn. Winner takes the Ashenvale pack, the alliance, and the girl. No, I said desperately. Father, you can't. Dawn, my father repeated, ignoring me. And when I win, you release Kira from any claim, you leave the summit in disgrace, and you never threaten my family again. And when I win, Kira becomes my mate and you die knowing you failed her one last time. Darius's smile was cruel. My father didn't flinch. Agreed. The crowd roared approval. An alpha challenge was rare, thrilling, violent entertainment. They'd all be there at dawn to watch. Darius turned to his guards. Take him to the challenge grounds. Lock him in the preparation tent. I want him rested for our fight. It's no fun killing a weak opponent. They dragged my father away. He didn't fight them. He just looked at me once more, and in his eyes, I saw goodbye. No, I whispered. No, no, no. Theron pulled me away from the crowd, into the shadows. He's going to die, I said, my voice breaking. Darius will kill him. And he's doing it so we can perform the ritual. I know. He's the sacrifice, Theron. He's been planning this since he found out about the ritual. I know, Theron repeated, his voice heavy. We have to stop this. There has to be another way. There isn't. He cupped my face in his hands. Your father made his choice. His choosing to save you. To finally be the father you deserved. By dying. By giving his life meaning. By turning his greatest failure into his greatest triumph. Theron's eyes were bright with tears. He's not running from his guilt anymore, Kira. He's facing it. And he's choosing love over everything else. I sobbed, the weight of it crushing me. My father, who'd ignored me for 23 years, was going to die to save me. We have to perform the ritual tonight, Theron said. Before the challenge. If we wait, if your father dies in combat instead of as a willing sacrifice, it won't work. What are you saying? I'm saying we need him to come to the ritual. Not to the challenge grounds. His expression was grim. We need to convince him to die our way, not Darius's way. I couldn't even finish the sentence. It was too horrible. I know. But it's the only way the ritual works. An alpha's willing sacrifice, made freely, out of love. If he dies fighting Darius, it's just death. It won't break the curses. He was right. I hated it, but he was right. How do we get him to the ritual site instead of the challenge grounds? We break him out. Tonight. We take him to the sacred grove where Sage said the ritual must be performed. And he swallowed hard. We ask him to give his life freely. He'll do it, I whispered. He's been planning this all along. I know. We stood there in the darkness, the weight of what we had to do crushing us both. 3 days left on the bond. But we wouldn't need 3 days. Tonight, my father would die. And I would live. Chapter 6, The Sacrifice. We waited until midnight. The camp was quiet, most wolves sleeping in preparation for the dawn challenge. Only a few guards remained awake, and they were focused on the preparation tent where my father was being held. They weren't expecting an attack from inside the camp. Theron and I had allies. Not many, but enough. A few young wolves from my pack who'd grown up with me, who'd seen how Darius operated and didn't trust him. They created a distraction at the south end of camp, a small fire, nothing dangerous, but enough to draw the guards away. We shifted and moved through shadows, our wolves silent as death. The preparation tent was warded with silver, but the wards were designed to keep someone in, not to keep someone out. Theron's magic, the ancient alpha power he'd inherited, made short work of the wards. They dissolved like smoke, and we slipped inside. My father was awake, sitting cross-legged on the ground, meditating. He didn't look surprised when we appeared. I wondered how long it would take you to come, he said. We shifted to human. We're breaking you out, I said. I assumed. To perform the ritual? Yes. He stood, stretching muscles stiff from days of captivity. Good. I was worried you'd let me fight Darius instead. This is better. Better. My voice cracked. You're going to die, father. I know. He smiled, and it was genuine, warm. But I'll die with purpose. I'll die saving you. That's all I've wanted for 23 years. You wanted to save me. You could barely look at me. Because looking at you hurt. He stepped closer. You look so much like your mother. Same eyes, same fierce spirit. Every time I saw you, I remembered losing her. I remembered that my selfishness, my broken oath, killed her. It wasn't your fault. It was. I knew the price. I knew the goddess would demand payment. But I loved Sarah too much to care. His eyes were bright with tears. And when she died, when you were born and the curse fell, I couldn't face what I'd done. So I hid from you. Pretended you didn't exist. Tried to forget I had a daughter who was dying because of me. Father. Let me finish. Please. He took my hands. I've been a coward. A terrible father. I let you live in shadows, let the pack call you cursed, let you believe you were unwanted. But you were never unwanted, Kira. You were just a reminder I couldn't bear. Tears streamed down my face. You should have told me. I should have. I should have done a lot of things differently. But I can't change the past. I can only change what happens next. He looked at Theron. You'll take care of her? After I'm gone? With my life, Theron said. Good. Because if you don't, I'll haunt you from beyond the grave. My father smiled. Now. Where's this ritual happening? The sacred grove. About an hour north. I wiped my eyes. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. He pulled me into a hug. I love you, Kira. I should have said it every day of your life. I'm sorry it took me dying to finally say it now. I love you too, I whispered. We broke him out of the tent and ran, 3 wolves moving swiftly through the forest. Behind us, alarms sounded as the guards discovered he was gone. But we had a head start, and we were fast. We reached the sacred grove just as the moon reached its highest point. The clearing was exactly as Sage had described it, a circle of standing stones, ancient and weathered, with symbols carved into each one. Sage was already there, waiting for us. She'd brought everything we needed. Candles, ritual herbs, a ceremonial blade made of pure silver. You came, she said. I'm glad. You knew we would, Theron said. I hoped. But hope and certainty are different things. She looked at my father. Gerrick Ashenvale. Are you prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice? I am, my father said without hesitation. You understand what this means? Your title, your power, your life all freely given to the moon goddess. No coercion, no obligation. Only love. I understand. Then let us begin. Sage directed us to our positions. My father in the center of the circle. Theron and I on opposite sides, creating a triangle. The moon water and silver flame placed at specific points around the circle. The ritual must be performed exactly as written, Sage said, opening an ancient book. Any deviation and it fails. Worse, it could kill all of you instead of just one. Comforting, I muttered. Sage began to chant in the old tongue, words I didn't understand but felt in my bones. The standing stones began to glow, soft silver light emanating from the carved symbols. Kira, Sage said. Pour the moon water around your father's feet. Do not let it touch his skin. My hands shook as I picked up the vial. The water inside glowed like captured starlight. I walked carefully to my father, pouring it in a circle around him. Where it touched the ground, silver light bloomed. Theron, Sage continued. Release the silver flame. Let it rise above us. Theron opened the crystal vial. The flame floated out, rising into the air above the circle. It grew larger, brighter, until it illuminated the entire grove. Now, Sage said, her voice heavy. The sacrifice must speak the words. Gerrick, repeat after me. My father stood tall, facing the moon. Sage began, I, Gerrick Ashenvale, Alpha of the Shadowpine Pack. I, Gerrick Ashenvale, Alpha of the Shadowpine Pack, my father repeated. Offer my title, my power, and my life to the moon goddess. Offer my title, my power, and my life to the moon goddess. Freely given, out of love, to break the curse upon my bloodline. Freely given, out of love, to break the curse upon my bloodline. The moment he spoke the final word, the moon water ignited. Silver flames raced around the circle, climbing higher, surrounding my father in a pillar of light. He didn't scream. He stood calmly, accepting what was happening. I ask the goddess to accept my sacrifice, he said, deviating from the script. And in exchange, I ask her to free my daughter. To break the curse on the Ashenvale bloodline. To release Theron Blackwater from his blood oath. And to forgive me for being a coward for so long. The silver flames grew brighter. The standing stones hummed with power. I was not the father she deserved, my father continued, his voice strong despite the flames consuming him. But let me be the sacrifice she needs. Let my death give her life. Let my failure become her freedom. He looked at me through the flames, and he was smiling. Be happy, Kira. Live the life I never had the courage to give you. And know that I loved you. I always loved you. I was just too broken to show it. The flames engulfed him completely. I tried to run to him, but Theron held me back. You can't, he said. If you break the circle, the ritual fails. I watched, helpless, as my father burned. Not in pain, but in light. His body dissolved into silver mist, his essence scattering on the wind. The curse broke. I felt it happen. Felt the weight that had been pressing on my chest my entire life suddenly lift. Felt my wolf surge forward, no longer trapped, no longer dying. She was free. I was free. The standing stone's light reached a crescendo, then exploded outward in a wave of silver energy that swept across the entire territory. When it faded, my father was gone. Only ashes remained in the center of the circle, glowing softly in the moonlight. I fell to my knees, sobbing. Theron knelt beside me, pulling me into his arms. Through the bond, I felt it, his blood oath breaking too. The weight of his father's curse lifting. We were both free. But the price? His gone, I whispered. His not gone. His everywhere. Sage knelt beside us, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. Look. She pointed to the ashes. They were moving, swirling, rising into the air. They formed a shape, a wolf, large and proud, made entirely of silver light. My father's wolf spirit. It looked at me with eyes I knew, eyes that held all the love he'd never been able to show in life. Then it turned and ran, dissolving into the forest, into the moonlight, into forever. The goddess accepted his sacrifice, Sage said softly. His spirit is free. And so are you. I looked at Theron. The partial bond was complete now, fully formed, no longer killing us. His mark on my neck glowed silver, permanent and perfect. We were mated. Truly, fully mated. Kira, he said softly. How do you feel? Free, I whispered. And heartbroken. And grateful. And I looked at Sage. Is it done? The curses are broken. They are. The Ashenvale bloodline is no longer cursed. Theron's blood oath is dissolved. And the bond between you is complete and blessed by the goddess herself. What about Darius? He'll still come for us when he realizes my father isn't returning for the challenge. Let him come, Theron said, his voice hard. He has no claim on you now. You're my mate. Protected by the ancient laws. If he tries to take you, he'll have to go through me. And me, a voice said from the edge of the clearing. We spun. A dozen wolves emerged from the forest. Not rogues. Not enemies. My pack. Ashenvale wolves, led by my father's beater. We followed you, the beater said, shifting to human. We heard the challenge was a setup. We came to help. My father. I started. We saw. The silver light was visible for miles. The beater knelt. Alpha Garrick is gone. But before he left, he named his successor. Who? I asked. The beater smiled. You, Alpha Kira. He left a letter with me. Said if he didn't survive the night, leadership of the Ashenvale pack passes to you. You're Alpha now. I stared at him. I'm, what? Alpha. The pack is yours. If you'll have us. Around him, the other wolves knelt, bowing their heads in submission. I looked at Theron. Through the bond, I felt his pride, his love, his support. You don't have to decide right now, he said. But you'd make an incredible alpha. I've never led anyone. I've barely existed. You've survived the impossible. You've broken ancient curses. You've done what your father spent 23 years being too afraid to do. Theron took my hand. You're stronger than you know, Kira. Trust me. I've seen it. I looked at my pack. These wolves who'd watched me grow up in shadows. Who'd whispered about the cursed daughter. Who now looked at me with respect, with hope. I'll lead you, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. But things will be different. No more blood feuds. No more hatred between packs. We move forward. We build something better. The beater grinned. Sounds perfect, Alpha. Alpha. The word felt strange. But also, right. We need to get back to the summit, I said. Darius will be furious when he learns what happened. We need to face him together. Together, Theron agreed. We ran back toward the summit, 2 alphas now, bonded and free. Behind us, the Ashenvale pack followed their new leader. Dawn was breaking as we reached the camp. The challenge grounds were already prepared, wolves gathering to watch the fight that would never happen. Darius stood at the center, armor and weapons ready, looking smug and confident. His expression changed when he saw us. Saw my pack at my back. Saw the alpha power radiating from me now that the curse was broken. Where's Garrick? He demanded. Gone, I said simply. He made his sacrifice. The curse is broken. I'm alpha of the Ashenvale pack now. That's impossible. Alpha succession requires the previous alpha's blessing, which I have. Requires the pack's acceptance, which I have. and requires the strength to lead. I stepped forward, letting my power show. Do you want to challenge me, Darius? Test whether I have that strength. He took a step back. He could feel it. I wasn't the hollow, dying girl anymore. I was alpha. I was powerful. And I was done being afraid. The engagement is dissolved, I continued. I have a mate. My pack and Nightfall are allied. And if you threaten either of us again, you'll have 2 alpha packs to deal with instead of 1. The crowd murmured. The other alphas watched carefully. This was politics now, territory negotiation, power plays. Darius could fight. Or he could retreat with his pride intact. He chose retreat. This isn't over, he said. Yes, Theron said calmly. It is. Go home, Darius. While you still can. Darius glared at us, but he left, his pack following. The threat was gone. I turned to the assembled alphas. I am Kira Ashenvale, Alpha of Shadowpine. This is Theron Blackwater, my mate and Alpha of Nightfall. Our packs are allied. The blood feud between Ashenvale and Nightfall ends today. Silence. Then, one by one, the other alphas nodded. Accepting it. Accepting us. It was over. We'd won. Theron pulled me close, kissing me in front of everyone. The bond hummed between us, complete and perfect and permanent. My alpha, he murmured. My mate. My Kira. Forever, I promised. Always yours. The sun rose over the summit, marking a new day. A new beginning. I'd started this journey as a dying, invisible girl. I'd ended it as an alpha. As a leader. As someone who mattered. My father's sacrifice hadn't been in vain. He'd given me life, given me freedom, given me the chance to be who I was always meant to be. And I wouldn't waste it. Chapter 7, The Alpha's Challenge. 3 months later. You'd think after breaking 2 ancient curses, surviving impossible trials, and becoming an alpha, life would get easier. You'd be wrong. Combining 2 packs that had been blood enemies for 3 generations turned out to be just as hard as everything that came before. Maybe harder, because this wasn't about magical solutions or divine intervention. This was about changing hearts and minds that had been taught to hate for decades. Some wolves adapted. The younger ones especially, who were tired of old feuds and ready for something new. They saw Theron and me as proof that change was possible, that love could bridge even the deepest divides. Others resisted. Hard. I stood in the council chamber of what used to be my father's meeting hall, now mine, listening to yet another argument about territory boundaries and hunting rights. The Nightfall wolves are taking our best game, Councillor Marcus complained. He was one of my father's old guard, loyal but stubborn. They're crossing into traditional Ashenvale hunting grounds without permission. Because those hunting grounds now belong to both packs, I said patiently. We'd had this conversation 17 times in the past month. The alliance means we share resources. The alliance means we're being absorbed, Marcus countered. Soon there won't be an Ashenvale pack. Just Nightfall. That's not true. Isn't it? You're mated to their alpha. You spend half your time at Nightfall territory. You're training with their warriors. How long before you forget who you really are? The words stung because they touched a fear I'd been carrying since the ritual. Was I losing my identity? Was I becoming someone else? Through the bond, I felt Theron's concern from miles away. He was at Nightfall, dealing with similar complaints from his own council. Apparently, some of his wolves thought he was going soft, prioritizing Ashenvale interests over Nightfall's. We couldn't win. I haven't forgotten who I am, I said firmly. I'm Kira Ashenvale, alpha of this pack. And I'm also Theron Blackwater's mate. I'm both. And so is this pack. We're both Ashenvale and Nightfall now. We're something new. New doesn't mean better, Marcus muttered. Before I could respond, the doors burst open. One of my scouts rushed in, breathing hard. Alpha, she said. We have a problem. Darius is back. My blood ran cold. What? He's at the border with 50 wolves. Armed. He's demanding to speak with you. Marcus stood immediately. This is what happens when you show mercy. You should have killed him when you had the chance. I'm not my father, I said. I don't solve problems with death. Sometimes death is the only solution, Marcus said darkly. I ignored him and turned to the scout. Where exactly is he? The eastern border. He says he'll wait 1 hour. Then he'll consider it an act of war. Of course he would. I reached out through the bond. Theron. We have a problem. I felt his immediate attention. What's wrong? Darius is at our eastern border. 50 wolves. Armed. Demanding to speak with me. I'm coming. Don't do anything until I get there. I'm not waiting. If I show up with you, he'll see it as weakness, me hiding behind my mate. I need to handle this. Kira. Trust me. I've got this. I felt his reluctance, but also his trust. Be careful. If he tries anything, I'll call for you. Promise. I cut off the connection and stood. Marcus, gather 20 of our best warriors. We're going to meet Darius. Only 20 against 50. I'm not planning to fight. But I'm not going undefended either. Within minutes, we were ready. I'd learned in the past 3 months that being alpha meant making quick decisions and living with the consequences. I'd also learned that half the time, I had no idea if I was making the right choice. But I couldn't let Darius see doubt. Alphas who showed weakness didn't stay alphas long. We reached the eastern border in wolf form, running fast through familiar territory. My wolf was stronger now, faster, no longer fighting against a curse. She moved with confidence I'd never felt before. Darius waited exactly where the scout said, 50 wolves at his back. They were in human form, armed with silver weapons. A show of force designed to intimidate. I shifted to human, standing naked and unashamed. Alpha power radiated from me, making several of Darius's wolves step back involuntarily. You have 1 minute to explain why you're on my territory before I consider this an invasion, I said. Darius smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I'm here to issue a formal challenge. I already told you. The engagement is dissolved. I'm mated. You have no claim. Not a challenge for you. His smile widened. A challenge for your territory. I'm invoking the right of conquest. My stomach dropped. The right of conquest was an ancient law, rarely used, that allowed any alpha to challenge another for their land. If the challenger won, they absorbed the defeated pack's territory. It was brutal, outdated, and supposedly forbidden by the Summit Accords. The Summit banned the right of conquest 50 years ago, I said. They banned unprovoked conquest. But I'm not unprovoked. You dissolved our engagement, embarrassed me in front of the 6 territories, and allied with my enemies. That's provocation enough. That's insane. That's the law. Old law, yes. But still law. He pulled out a scroll. I've already filed the formal challenge with the Summit Council. They have to honor it. 21 days from now, you and I face each other in traditional combat. Winner takes the Ashenvale territory. And if I refuse, then you forfeit by default. I take your land, your pack, everything. Your wolves become mine. His eyes gleamed. One way or another, Kira, I'm going to destroy what you've built. Behind me, I heard my wolves growling, ready to attack. But I couldn't let this descend into violence. Not here, not now. That's exactly what Darius wanted, an excuse to claim I broke the peace. Fine, I said. I accept your challenge. Marcus made a sound of protest, but I silenced him with a look. 21 days, I continued. Traditional combat. No weapons, no interference. Just you and me. Just you and me, Darius agreed. May the strongest alpha win. He turned and left, his wolves following. They'd made their point and delivered their message. When they were gone, Marcus exploded. Are you insane? You can't fight Darius. He's been alpha for 10 years. He's trained his entire life for combat. You've been alpha for 3 months. I know. Then why did you accept? Because refusing would mean forfeiting everything. At least this way, I have a chance. You have no chance, Marcus said bluntly. Darius will kill you in minutes. And then everything your father sacrificed for, everything you've built, will belong to him. He was right. I knew he was right. But I couldn't let him see my fear. Then I'd better learn to fight, I said. I felt Theron through the bond, already running toward us, fury and fear radiating through our connection. When he arrived, shifting to human in one fluid motion, his face was dark with rage. Tell me you didn't accept that challenge, he said. I accepted. Kira. I had to. Refusing would mean losing everything. And fighting means dying. His hands gripped my shoulders. Darius is a killer. He's been training for combat since he was a child. You've been alpha for 3 months. 3 months, Kira. You're not ready for this. Then help me get ready. He stared at me. What? You have 21 days to turn me into a fighter who can beat Darius. Can you do it? He looked torn between pride and terror. I don't know. Try anyway. I took his hands. Because the alternative is giving up. And I didn't survive curses and blood oaths and impossible rituals just to hand everything over to Darius without a fight. Through the bond, I felt his emotions warring. Fear for my safety. Pride in my courage. And underneath it all, the same desperation I felt. Okay, he said finally. Okay. We'll train. Every day, all day. I'll teach you everything I know about combat. And we'll pray it's enough. It will be, I said, with more confidence than I felt. We had 21 days. It had to be enough. Chapter 8. The Training. Day 1 of training, Theron knocked me on my ass in under 30 seconds. Again, he said, offering me a hand up. I took it, breathing hard. This is impossible. Nothing's impossible. You proved that when you broke the curses. He moved into a fighting stance. But combat isn't about magic or rituals. It's about muscle memory, strategy, and the willingness to be brutal. I don't want to be brutal. Then you'll lose. His eyes were hard. Darius won't hold back. He'll go for your throat immediately. You need to be ready to do the same. We were in a private training ground, deep in Nightfall territory. Just Theron and me, away from our packs, away from judging eyes and worried whispers. Show me the stance again, I said. He demonstrated, his body a perfect line of controlled power. I tried to copy it, but my balance was off. Lower, he said, adjusting my hips. Your center of gravity needs to be here. Too high and you're easily knocked over. I adjusted. Like this. Better. Now, when I come at you, don't try to meet force with force. You're smaller, lighter. Use that. Dodge, redirect, make me overcommit. He attacked, controlled but fast. I tried to dodge. He caught me anyway, sweeping my legs. I hit the ground hard. Again, he said. We went again. And again. And again. By midday, I was covered in bruises, exhausted, and no closer to being able to beat Darius. Break, Theron said, tossing me a water skin. I drank gratefully, wincing at my sore muscles. I'm not getting better, I said. You are. You're just not getting better fast enough. He sat beside me. Tell me the truth. Why did you really accept this challenge? I told you. I had no choice. There's always a choice. You could have asked me to fight him in your place. As your mate, I have that right. I know. Then why didn't you? I was quiet for a long moment. Because I need to prove I can do this myself. I need to prove I'm not just the alpha because my father died and left me his title. I need to prove I earned it. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Yes, I do. I met his eyes. Half my pack thinks I'm too weak to lead. They see me as the cursed daughter who got lucky. And maybe they're right. Maybe I am just lucky. Maybe without you, without my father's sacrifice, I'd still be dying in the shadows. Kira. I need this fight, Theron. I need to stand in that ring and face Darius and win on my own strength. Not because of you. Not because of magic. Because of me. He pulled me close. You're already strong. You just don't see it yet. Then help me see it. Help me become the fighter I need to be. He kissed my forehead. We have 20 more days. Let's make them count. Day 5. I lasted 2 minutes before Theron pinned me. Day 10. 3 minutes. Progress, but not enough. Day 15. I actually managed to dodge one of his attacks and land a hit of my own. It wasn't enough to hurt him, but it was something. Better, he said, grinning. You're thinking faster. I'm thinking I'm going to die in 6 days. You're not going to die. I won't let you. You won't be in the ring with me. His smile faded. I know. And it's killing me. The bond, when you get hurt, I feel it. When you're in pain, I'm in pain. Being there, watching you fight, knowing I can't help. He ran a hand through his hair. It's going to be torture. Then maybe you should stay away. Not a chance. He pulled me into his arms. I'll be there. Front row. And the moment that fight is over, win or lose, I'm taking you home. Win or lose, I repeated quietly. We both knew what lose meant. If Darius killed me, Theron would lose his mate. The bond would snap, and the pain would be unbearable. Some wolves didn't survive losing their mates. They went feral, or they just gave up. Don't think about that, Theron said, reading my thoughts through the bond. Think about winning. Think about standing over Darius and claiming your victory. I'm trying. Day 18. I fought Theron for 10 straight minutes before he finally got me in a hold I couldn't break. You're ready, he said. I'm not. You are. You're faster than Darius, more agile. You won't beat him with strength, but you can beat him with strategy. He helped me up. We're going to spend the next 3 days working on exactly that. Finding his weaknesses and exploiting them. What weaknesses? He's been alpha for 10 years. Everyone has weaknesses. We just need to find his. We spent the remaining days studying everything we could about Darius. Old fight recordings, testimonies from wolves who'd trained with him, analyzing his style. Theron was right. Darius had weaknesses. He was aggressive, preferring to attack rather than defend. He relied on brute strength and intimidation. And he had a temper. If you got him angry enough, he made mistakes. That's your strategy, Theron said on day 20. Stay defensive, make him chase you, tire him out. And when he gets frustrated and sloppy, that's when you strike. Easier said than done. Most things are. He cupped my face. But you can do this. I believe in you. I wish I believed in me. Then borrow my belief until you find your own. He kissed me softly. Tomorrow, you're going to walk into that ring. You're going to face Darius. And you're going to win. Not because you're the strongest, but because you're the smartest. Because you've survived things that would have killed anyone else. Because you're not just an alpha, you're my mate, and you're magnificent. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. Tomorrow would tell us if I could. Day 21. The day of the challenge. I woke before dawn, my stomach in knots. Through the bond, I felt Theron awake beside me, equally anxious. How do you feel? He asked. Terrified. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. He pulled me close. Remember the plan? Stay defensive. Make him chase me. Wait for him to make a mistake. And strike fast and don't hesitate. Good. He kissed me. I love you. No matter what happens today, I love you. I love you too. We rose and prepared. I dressed in simple fighting clothes. No armor, no weapons, nothing that would slow me down. Theron helped me bind my hair back, his hands gentle. You're going to be brilliant, he said. I hoped he was right. The challenge grounds were at neutral territory, the same place the summit was held. All 6 packs had gathered to watch. This wasn't just about Ashenvale and Ironmoor anymore. This was about proving that the new way, my way, could work. If I won, it would show that young alphas could lead with strength. If I lost, it would prove the old ways were better. No pressure. Darius was already in the ring when we arrived, stretching and warming up. He looked confident, relaxed. Like this was a formality, not a real fight. The other alphas sat in a row, judges for this ancient ritual. Sage was there too, watching with her ancient, knowing eyes. Through the bond, I felt Theron take his place in the crowd. His fear, his pride, his love, all flowing through our connection. "You can do this," he said through the bond. "You're stronger than you know." I stepped into the ring. The crowd fell silent. Darius turned to face me, that predatory smile on his face. "Last chance to forfeit," he said. "Save yourself the humiliation of dying in front of everyone." "Last chance to walk away," I countered. "Save yourself the embarrassment of losing to a 3-month-old alpha." His smile faded. "Good." I was already in his head. The head judge, an ancient alpha named Kale, stood. "This is a formal challenge under the right of conquest. The rules are simple. Fight until one alpha submits or dies. No weapons. No interference. The fight ends when it ends." He looked at both of us. "Do you both accept these terms?" "I accept," Darius said. "I accept," I echoed. "Then let the challenge begin." The signal bell rang. Darius attacked immediately, exactly as Theron predicted. He shifted mid-charge, his wolf form massive and dark, jaws aimed for my throat. I shifted and dodged, my smaller wolf dancing aside. His teeth snapped on empty air. The crowd roared. First blood to me. I'd made him miss. Darius snarled and came again, faster this time. I dodged again, but barely. His claws grazed my shoulder, drawing blood. Pain lanced through me. Through the bond, I felt Theron's answering pain, his fury at seeing me hurt. Stay calm, I told myself. Stick to the plan. Darius circled me, looking for an opening. I kept moving, never staying still, making him work for every attack. Stand and fight, he growled. Why? So you can kill me faster? His eyes flashed with rage. There it was, the temper Theron had told me about. He lunged again, putting all his strength into it. Too much strength. Too much commitment. I didn't dodge this time. I dropped low and rolled, coming up behind him. Before he could turn, I bit down hard on his back leg. He howled and spun, catching me across the face with his claws. I flew backward, hitting the ground hard. Blood poured from my muzzle. Through the bond, Theron was screaming for me to get up. I got up. Darius was limping now, his back leg injured. Not much, but enough. Enough to slow him down. We circled each other, both bleeding, both tired. You're better than I expected, Darius admitted. But it won't be enough. You're still going to die. Maybe, I said. But I'm taking you with me. I attacked this time, using my speed. I went for his injured leg, forcing him to pivot, to put weight on it. He roared in pain and snapped at me, but I was already gone. Again and again, I struck and retreated, wearing him down, making him chase me. His breathing got heavier. His movements got slower, and his temper got worse. Stand still, he roared. Make me. He charged, completely abandoning strategy for rage. This was it. The opening I needed. I waited until he was almost on me. Then I dropped flat. He sailed over me, too committed to stop. I spun and leaped, catching him mid-air, my jaws finding his throat. We crashed to the ground together, a tangle of fur and teeth and blood. When we stopped moving, my teeth were at his throat. One bite would kill him. Submit, I growled. He struggled, but I bit down harder. Not enough to kill, but enough to make my point. Submit or die. For a long moment, he fought. His pride warring with his survival instinct. Then, finally, he went still. I submit, he said, the words bitter. I released him and stepped back, shifting to human. My face was a mess of blood and bruises, but I was standing. Darius shifted too, cradling his injured leg. The challenge is over, Kale announced. Kira Ashenvale has won. The Ashenvale territory remains hers. The crowd erupted. Theron was there in seconds, pulling me into his arms, checking my injuries. You did it, he said, laughing and crying at the same time. You actually did it. I did it, I repeated, hardly believing it. Darius limped away, defeated but alive. He'd lost his bid for power, lost his chance to destroy what I'd built. And I'd proven that I wasn't just lucky. I was strong. I was capable. I was alpha. For real this time. Chapter 9, The Unity. The victory celebration lasted 3 days. I didn't attend most of it. My injuries from the fight with Darius needed time to heal, and despite my supernatural regeneration, I'd taken enough damage that even moving hurt. Theron barely left my side. He'd set up a healing space in our shared quarters, half Ashenvale territory, half Nightfall, a physical representation of our united packs. You need to eat, he said, offering me a bowl of broth. I need to sleep for a week, I countered, but I took the bowl anyway. Through the bond, I felt his relief every time I moved, every time I proved I was okay. The fight had been harder on him than on me in some ways. He'd had to watch, helpless, while I fought for my life. I'm sorry, I said quietly. For what? For putting you through that. For making you watch. He sat beside me on the bed, careful not to jostle my bruised ribs. You have nothing to apologize for. You were magnificent. Terrifying, but magnificent. I was terrified. That's what made it brave. He brushed hair from my face. You felt the fear and fought anyway. That's courage, Kira. I just didn't want to let everyone down. My pack, your pack, my father's memory. You honored your father's memory by becoming exactly what he hoped you'd be. Strong. Brave. Merciful. Theron's eyes were soft. You could have killed Darius. No one would have blamed you. But you showed mercy instead. You gave him his life. He would have killed me without hesitation. Exactly. Which is why you're a better alpha than he'll ever be. A knock interrupted us. Marcus entered, looking uncomfortable. Alpha, he said, his tone more respectful than it had been in months. I came to apologize. I blinked. Apologize. I doubted you. Questioned your strength, your ability to lead. I was wrong. He met my eyes. You've proven yourself 10 times over. And I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Something warm bloomed in my chest. Marcus's approval meant more than I'd realized. Thank you, I said. That means a lot. The pack is waiting for you, he continued. When you're ready. There's something we want to do. Something traditional. What kind of traditional? You'll see. He smiled, and it transformed his usually stern face. Rest. Heal. We'll be ready when you are. He left, and I looked at Theron questioningly. Don't look at me, he said. I have no idea what they're planning. 2 days later, when I could finally move without wincing, they showed me. The entire pack, Ashenvale and Nightfall both, had gathered in the central clearing. Hundreds of wolves in human form, standing together, the old divisions barely visible anymore. Sage stood at the center, ancient and wise, holding something wrapped in silver cloth. Kira Ashenvale, she called when she saw me. Come forward. I walked through the crowd, Theron at my side. Wolves bowed their heads as I passed, showing respect. Not fear, not obligation. Genuine respect. When I reached Sage, she smiled. Your pack has a gift for you, she said. She unwrapped the silver cloth, revealing a crown. Not gold or jewels, but woven from moon willow branches, the sacred wood from the springs where we'd gathered the moon water. It glowed softly in the sunlight, blessed by the moon goddess herself. This is the Alpha's crown, Sage explained. Given only to those who've proven themselves worthy through sacrifice, courage, and love. Your father wore one. His father before him. And now, if you'll accept it, it's yours. My throat tightened. I don't know what to say. Say you'll wear it. Say you'll lead us. Say you'll continue building the future you've started. I looked at my pack. Ashenvale wolves who'd watched me grow up invisible, now looking at me like I was someone worth following. Nightfall wolves who'd been taught to hate my bloodline, now standing beside their former enemies like family. This was what my father had died for. This unity. This peace. I'll wear it, I said. I'll lead you. All of you. And I'll spend every day trying to be worthy of the sacrifice that made this possible. Sage placed the crown on my head. The moment it touched my skin, I felt it, a connection to every alpha who'd worn it before me. My father's strength. My grandfather's wisdom. A legacy of leadership flowing into me. The pack roared approval, the sound echoing across the territory. Theron took my hand, his own crown, the Nightfall Alpha's crown of blackthorn and silver, gleaming on his head. 2 alphas. 2 packs. 1 future. Speech, someone called from the crowd. I wasn't prepared for a speech. But I was alpha. Making things up on the spot was apparently part of the job description now. 3 months ago, I began, my voice carrying across the clearing. I was dying. Cursed, invisible, convinced I had no future. My father was drowning in guilt. Theron was trapped by a blood oath. Our packs were enemies. Everything was broken. I paused, gathering my thoughts. But we didn't accept that. We fought. We sacrificed. We chose love over hate, hope over despair, unity over division. And it cost us. My father gave his life. We nearly lost each other a dozen times. The path here was soaked in blood and pain and impossible choices. The crowd was silent, listening. But it was worth it. Because look at us now. Ashenvale and Nightfall, standing together. Former enemies becoming family. That's what my father died for. That's what every sacrifice was for. Not just to save me. Not just to break curses. But to prove that change is possible. That old wounds can heal. That we're stronger together than apart. I felt tears on my cheeks but didn't wipe them away. I'm not the alpha my father was. I'm not as experienced as the alphas who came before me. But I promise you this, I will lead with courage. I will lead with love. I will make mistakes, and I'll own them. I will ask for help when I need it. And I will never, ever forget that leadership isn't about power. It's about service. It's about making the hard choices so your pack doesn't have to. Theron squeezed my hand, pride radiating through the bond. So let's build something new together, I finished. Let's create a pack that future generations will be proud of. Let's honor those we've lost by living the future they died to give us. Let's be the change we want to see. The roar that followed was deafening. Wolves shifted and howled, the sound carrying for miles. A declaration to every territory that something new had been born here. That night, there was a feast. Real celebration this time, not just relief that I'd survived. The 2 packs mingled freely, sharing food and stories, the old barriers crumbling a little more with each laugh and shared cup. I stood with Theron at the edge of it all, watching. Happy, he asked. Getting there, I said. Still feels surreal sometimes. Like I'm going to wake up and be back in my father's house, invisible and dying. You're not invisible anymore. And you're definitely not dying. He pulled me close. You're thriving. Leading. Changing the world. We're changing the world, I corrected. I couldn't do this without you. You could. But I'm glad you don't have to. We stood in comfortable silence, watching our packs become one. Do you think my father would be proud? I asked quietly. I know he would be. He is. Wherever he is, he's watching. And he's proud. I wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe he could see what his sacrifice had created. A young wolf approached us, one of the Nightfall juveniles. She couldn't have been more than 16. Alpha Kira, she said shyly. Can I ask you something? Of course. My mom says you were cursed. That you couldn't shift until you found your mate. Is that true? It's true. So you know what it's like. To feel broken. To feel like you don't fit. My heart ached for her. Yes. I know exactly what that's like. I'm different too. I shift slower than everyone else. The other pups make fun of me. They say I'm weak. She looked down. I wanted to ask, does it get better? Or do you just learn to live with being broken? I knelt down to her level. Listen to me, I said firmly. You are not broken. Being different doesn't mean being less. It means being you. And you is enough. But I can't keep up. Yet. You can't keep up yet. But that doesn't mean you never will. I couldn't shift at all for 23 years. Now look at me. I'm Alpha. I smiled. Your timeline is your own. Your strength is your own. Don't let anyone make you feel small because you're on a different path. Tears welled in her eyes. Thank you, Alpha. Call me Kira. And if anyone gives you trouble, you come find me. Understood. She nodded and ran back to her friends, looking lighter somehow. Theron was grinning when I stood back up. What? I asked. Nothing. Just watching you be exactly the alpha this pack needs. I just told a kid not to feel bad about herself. Exactly. You gave her hope. You showed her that being different isn't a weakness. That's leadership, Kira. That's what changes lives. Maybe he was right. Maybe leadership wasn't about grand gestures and dramatic battles. Maybe it was about the small moments. The quiet conversations. The choice to lift someone up instead of pushing them down. The celebration continued into the night. At some point, music started, wolves with drums and flutes playing traditional songs from both packs, creating something new from old melodies. Theron pulled me into a dance, despite my protests that I didn't know how. Neither do I, he said. We'll figure it out together. We swayed in the moonlight, surrounded by our pack, our family. The bond hummed between us, content and complete. I love you, I said. I love you too. Always. Forever, I promised. And I meant it. Whatever challenges came next, whatever obstacles we faced, we'd face them together. 2 alphas, 2 packs, 1 unbreakable bond. The moon shone down on us, blessing what we'd built. And somewhere, I swear I felt my father's spirit, proud and at peace. Chapter 10, Epilogue. 1 year later. I stood at the edge of the cliff where I'd first met Theron, looking out over the territories spread below. So much had changed in a year. So much had stayed the same. The Ashenvale Nightfall Alliance had grown stronger, becoming a model for other packs. 3 more territories had joined us, creating a coalition of 5 packs working together instead of competing. The old blood feuds were fading, replaced by cooperation and shared resources. It wasn't perfect. There were still disputes, still wolves who clung to old hatreds. But progress was progress, even when it was slow. Behind me, I heard footsteps. I knew it was Theron before he reached me. I always knew, the bond making us constantly aware of each other. Beautiful sunset, he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind. Beautiful everything, I agreed, leaning into him. The council meeting went well. The new trade agreements are finalized. Good. That should help with the winter supply shortage. We stood in comfortable silence, watching the sun paint the sky gold and red. I have something to tell you, I said. I felt his attention sharpen. What is it? I saw a healer this morning. I've been feeling strange for a few weeks. Tired, emotional, nauseous in the mornings. His arms tightened around me. And, I'm pregnant. He went very still. Then he spun me around, his eyes wide with wonder and fear. Pregnant? You're sure? The healer confirmed it. About 8 weeks along. We're going to have a pup. His voice cracked. Kira, we're going to be parents. I know. Terrifying, right? Terrifying. Amazing. Overwhelming. He pulled me close. A pup. Our pup. Through the bond, I felt his emotions in a tidal wave. Joy. Fear. Excitement. Worry. Love. So much love it nearly knocked me over. Are you happy? I asked. Happy doesn't even begin to cover it. He kissed me softly. But I'm also scared. What if I'm a terrible father? What if I mess them up the way my father messed me up? You won't. You're nothing like your father. How can you be sure? Because you're already worrying about being a good parent. That's the difference. You care. You'll do the work. You'll be amazing. He rested his forehead against mine. What about the curse? Is the pup? The curse is broken. The bloodline is free. Our pup will shift normally, grow normally. They'll be healthy and whole and perfect. Relief flooded through him. Thank the goddess. There's something else, I said. Something the healer told me. She said she could feel 2 heartbeats. 2, his eyes widened. Twins. Twins. He laughed, a sound of pure joy. Of course it's twins. We don't do anything halfway, do we? Apparently not. He picked me up and spun me around, both of us laughing like children. When he set me down, his eyes were bright with tears. I wish your father was here to see this, he said. Me too. I touched my stomach. But maybe he is. In some way. Watching over us. If these pups have even half your courage and strength, they'll be unstoppable. If they have even half your kindness and wisdom, they'll be beloved. We stood on that cliff, holding each other, thinking about the future we were building. Not just for ourselves, but for our children. For the generations that would come after. 6 months later, on a night when the moon was full and bright, I gave birth to 2 perfect pups. A boy and a girl, both healthy, both strong, both shifting within hours of being born, something almost unheard of. The boy had my silver eyes and Theron's black hair. We named him Garrick, after my father. The girl had Theron's golden eyes and my dark hair. We named her Sarah, after my mother. The pack gathered to welcome them, 2 packs treating these pups like they belonged to everyone. Ashenvale and Nightfall wolves alike brought gifts, offered protection, swore oaths of loyalty. Marcus, my father's old counselor who doubted me so thoroughly, was the first to kneel before the pups. I swear to protect these children as I would have protected their grandfather, he said, tears in his eyes. Alpha Garrick's legacy lives on. One by one, the others followed. Warriors and healers, elders and juveniles, all pledging themselves to these tiny lives. Sage was there too, ancient and knowing as always. They will be great, she said, touching each pup's forehead with a gentle finger. Born of sacrifice and love. Born to unite what was divided. Born to change the world. No pressure, I joked weakly, exhausted from the birth. They're Ashenvale and Blackwater both. Pressure is their birthright. She smiled. But so is strength. So is courage. So is the ability to love fiercely and without reservation. You and Theron have given them the greatest gift parents can give their children. What's that? A world worth living in. A future worth fighting for. Hope. She was right. Everything we'd been through, the curses, the sacrifices, the impossible choices, had created something beautiful. Something worth preserving. That night, after everyone had left and it was just our small family, Theron and I sat with our pups. Garrick slept peacefully in my arms. Sarah in Theron's. 2 perfect miracles. They'll never know what it cost to get here, I said quietly. The price we paid for this peace. Maybe that's a good thing, Theron said. Let them grow up without the weight of old hatreds. Let them be the first generation born into unity instead of division. But they should know about their grandfather. About what he sacrificed. We'll tell them. When they're old enough to understand. We'll tell them about Alpha Garrick who chose love over pride. About Sarah who died giving life. About all the wolves who fought and bled and sacrificed so these pups could be born into a better world. I looked at my son, seeing my father's features already emerging. Strong jaw, proud bearing even in sleep. I hope I can be half the parent you were, Father, I whispered. I hope I can give them what you gave me in the end. Purpose. Meaning. A reason to be brave. Little Garrick stirred, his tiny hand gripping my finger with surprising strength. Through the bond, I felt Theron's love wash over me. Love for me. Love for our pups. Love for the life we'd built from the ashes of curse and tragedy. We're going to be okay, he said. Better than okay, I agreed. We're going to be extraordinary. And we were. The years that followed brought challenges, of course. Raising twins while leading a pack was exhausting. There were disputes to settle, borders to defend, politics to navigate. But we faced it all together. Garrick grew up strong and brave, with his grandfather's sense of duty and his father's kindness. He became a warrior, a protector, beloved by both packs. Sarah grew up fierce and clever, with her grandmother's healing touch and her mother's determination. She became a moon priestess, walking in sage's footsteps. They never knew the curse. Never felt the weight of broken oaths or dying wolves. They grew up free, exactly as we'd intended. And when they were old enough, we told them the story. About their grandfather who sacrificed everything. About the curses that almost destroyed us. About the impossible love that saved us all. They listened with wide eyes, hardly believing their parents had lived through such darkness. Why did grandfather do it? Garrick asked. Why did he sacrifice himself? Because he loved me, I said simply. And because love is the strongest force in the world. Stronger than curses. Stronger than hatred. Stronger than death itself. Will we have to sacrifice like that? Sarah asked, worried. I hope not, Theron said. We sacrificed so you wouldn't have to. We fought so you could live in peace. But if you ever face darkness, if you ever have to make impossible choices, remember, love is always worth fighting for. Hope is always worth preserving. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is choose mercy over vengeance, forgiveness over hatred. They took those lessons to heart. And when they grew old enough to lead. Garrick as alpha of the United Packs, Sarah as spiritual guide, they built on the foundation we'd created. The territories flourished. More packs joined the alliance. The old wars faded into history, replaced by cooperation and mutual respect. And through it all, Theron and I watched. Two alphas who'd been cursed, broken, dying, now growing old together, surrounded by the family we'd created and the peace we'd fought for. On our 50th anniversary, we returned to that cliff. The place where it all began. Where Theron had saved me from rogues. Where our bond had first locked into place. We were older now, grey in our hair, laugh lines around our eyes. But the bond was as strong as ever, humming between us like it had from the very first moment. Do you have any regrets? Theron asked. Not one, I said. You. Only that we didn't have more time. That 50 years wasn't enough. We have however long the goddess gives us. And I intend to spend every moment of it with you. He pulled me close, and we stood watching the sunset, just as we had a year after the curses broke. Just as we had countless times since. Below us, our grandchildren played. Garrick's pups and Sarah's pups, the next generation of our legacy. They were laughing, running, shifting and playing in their wolf forms without fear or curse. This was what my father had died for. This joy. This freedom. This future. Thank you, I whispered to the wind, hoping my father's spirit could hear me wherever he was. Thank you for giving me this. For choosing love. For being brave when it mattered most. The wind carried my words away, and for just a moment, I swear I felt a presence. Warm. Proud. Loving. My father was at peace. And so was I. I looked at Theron, my mate, my partner, my love. Ready to head back, he asked. Always. As long as I'm with you. We walked back toward our home together, hand in hand, the bond singing between us. I'd started my life as a curse. A hollow heir. A dying girl who nobody wanted. I'd ended it as an alpha. A mate. A mother. A grandmother. A legend. But most importantly, I'd lived it as myself. Fully. Completely. Without apology. And that was the greatest gift my father's sacrifice had given me. Not just life. But the courage to live it. Thank you for experiencing this story at the Alpha's Claims collection. If this tale of sacrifice, love, and redemption touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me which moment resonated with you most. Was it Garrick's sacrifice? The training montage? The birth of the twins? The final piece they built together? And don't forget to drop your country and current time below. I love knowing where in the world you're listening from, what time it is as you hear these words. Until next time, remember. You are not defined by the curses others place on you. You are not limited by the expectations others have of you. You are not broken just because someone told you that you were. You are becoming. You are evolving. You are exactly who you're meant to be. And sometimes, the greatest strength is choosing love over hate, mercy over vengeance, and hope over despair. May you always find the courage to be seen. May you always remember that sacrifice made from love is never wasted. And may you always know that your story, whatever it is, however dark it seems, can have a happy ending. You are not invisible. You are magnificent. Until we meet again in another story, another world, another adventure. This is the Alpha's Claims collection.